hard to get into the refrigerator the way we had it.
Very woody, very dark, deep in the house. Looking at this refrigerator to swing. So you literally have to move out of the way to get in and out of here.
And just when that time we were just about to start the project, I had to go into the hospital.
The team was great. They understood. They were compassionate.
So we removed the wall that divided the living room from here. We put that through the kitchen, and then we put the sink towards the dining area, and we had the cooking over here. And this is the one they liked.
And now, like your refrigerator, the stove, the sink.
Hello, we're the Conways, and we engaged Bryhn Construction to do our kitchen. It was a difficult space, to say the least. It was quite small, and it really thought we were limited in what we could do.
This was for a couple. They're both artists, and as artists, they tend to be kind of more perfectionist-minded, I think. And they've been wanting to do this for years, and so I wanted to take you through some drawings, some photos, and hopefully you will find this here helpful to yourself if you're planning to do your own renovation. So let's get going. What you're looking at here in the background, this is the patient. This here is the old kitchen. And this is an older home. It started as a small house, multiple additions. So like every single job, we have lots of different challenges. You can see here, they had this soffit that went on an angle on the floor that went along with it. Very woody, very dark, deep in the house because of the additions that were added onto it. Oh, and here's from the kitchen looking out. And there's a nice view here in the winter time. It's in Hunterdon County, that's where we're located. And you can see here's the oven, range, dishwasher, really, really cramped. Here's looking towards the front of the bedroom, fireplace, and where everybody sits is sort of separated behind this wall. So actually, if we go back here, another thing is really backwards. Look at this refrigerator to swing. So you literally have to move out of the way to get in and out of here. And there's a little sort of window to kind of open it up to the back here, but it was just rather dark. And whenever you do a project, there's always so many decisions to be made. What are you going to do? They had this engineered flooring, oak flooring, decent shape throughout the whole house, but we really could not continue to match it. So that became another little bit of an issue of what we were going to do there. And here you can see the kitchen from the back. Here's the living room. Here's the bedroom, bathroom. Here's some structural beams that they had just boxed out. See here, this angled cabinet, this angled soffit. The reason they did this is because there's a structural beam that goes through the ceiling. So they just blocked the whole thing out, and they just kind of kept it in line with the cabinetry. And here's the bedroom. The kitchen again was behind here. Here's the kitchen here, looking towards the front, so on. Upstairs. This is where the beam sits underneath here, and this was an addition that was added on later to enlarge the house. Yeah, here's just an access from an old attic into the new attic. And what else we got? Oh, these lights here, what we're looking at, that's actually the light in the kitchen ceiling, so that you see there's really bad for energy. You got no insulation and the heat just leaking up into this attic space.
I think we were really surprised and delighted with what Bryhn came up with as far as choices in design. Gave us several choices. We really didn't know, even though we both are artists ourselves. I'm a fine artist. My wife is a graphic artist.
We made just some very minor changes here. This post shows was the structural post. This is where the beam went across up in the ceiling, and that's why they had blocked this whole ceiling out. That little pass through, we moved that down. That gave us we made the range wall here a little bit larger because so we at least put a pot down on the left hand side, and then we put to the French door refrigerator. That was not so awkward. And then in here we made the kitchen a little bit bigger in this option. We took a little bit space out of the bedroom. It gave us about another foot. And then we had this little alcove here as you come in, and it's really just a guest room. But that really opened it up a little bit, and they saw this. They were very happy with it. They liked it. And here you can see this shows the soffit. Looking in here, they give a little bit more useful cabinets on this side. And here's a little rendering of what it would look like with the French wood refrigerator. Did a microwave hood. So I said, well, let me just show them another design as well. I told them, I know you didn't ask for it, but here, let me just show you some other things we can do. On this design here, we took out the wall here altogether and made it a little island out of this. So we removed the wall that divided the living room from here. We took the door that went into the back guest room. We put that through the kitchen, and then we put a cooktop over here with the hood. So that would be the hood here, the cooktop, sink, and that on that side. They did like that a lot. And you can see some other views from inside. Now you can sit by the kitchen sink. You can talk to the people that are here. And here's the cooking where the dining area is. From here you can sit at the couch looking inside. Then we did a secondary one, very similar, but we just swapped where we had the sink towards the dining area, and we had the cooking over here. We had a little peninsula coming out with a couple of stools here. And this is the one they liked here. They liked that plan.
When they came in and they showed us the original designs, we thought, wow, it was really great the way kind of really do all this, create, change this and move that.
Move the door, take out a wall.
And I was like, oh wow, it's gonna be a lot, but opening things up, it was really wonderful. All the guys who came to work, every contractor, doing the plumbing, doing the carpentry, doing the painting, doing electrical, everything was really a joy. And when we first started, we didn't know, because I had a recurrence of cancer that I'd been in remission for 7 years. And just when that time we were just about to start the project, 2 days before, I had to go into the hospital, and but we were sure, well, what the heck,
Just weren't sure how that was gonna affect the whole process, but the team was great. They understood, they were compassionate, they watched after us. We didn't have to worry about anything. They just took everything from start to finish. There were no delays.
They were here all the time working and getting things done, and everything was, scheduled. The project just rolled along. It was a joy to work with them. I mean, their skill, craftsmanship really came out, and watching them do everything, I could really tell. They were taking their time and paying attention to what they were doing, and they wanted to do a good job.
So this is when people wonder, like, did we make a mistake? They come here, this is like day one. We're just tearing out of it. We got Rob, Dane, David there. And here you can see us, we tore into the wall. Here's that old post that was holding up the beam that was over here. See, if I wonder if I have any more photos. Oh, this we can see after we put in the flush beam. So we put the flush beam going across, and we left the existing beam that was here. And now we see we framed in our new wall to the guest room in the back, and move the doorway from here on over. There's another photo from the beam looking towards the outside. You can see how dark it's in here before we put the sun tunnel in, and obviously with no lights on. Here we got drywall in, ran the plumbing over, patched the floors. Here's a little, these things work great, HEPA air cleaner. So if you can put a plastic wall up against the rest of the house, and then this will really remove all the particulates out of the air. It really goes a long way to keep the dust down while you're going through a construction project like this, because if you don't, you'd have it everywhere. So we try our best to minimize the dust. And here we can see the cabinets going in, and this is when everybody starts to get excited.
They really came out with something that was a great way to just open up the space and make things much easier for us as far as counter space, so much easier to access things. Even just how they altered the space completely. And we do appreciate the design that he came out with that was just so really wonderful.
And here we can kind of see the plan that we kind of went with. And we had a hood up here. I like to keep the hood really high. Oh, the other thing that was nice, we have a remote fan. So what that means is an inline fan. So up in that attic, in the pictures that I showed you before, that's where the blower sits. And then we had just a switch on the wall over here that turns on both the lights in here, as well as the fan. And having it be remote, you don't really hear it, which is really nice. And it's also a bigger blower as well, because it is higher off the ground. And actually this fan control is right behind the other side of that cabinet. One other nice thing that we did here is the sun tunnel. So we brought some natural light into here. And see how bright it looks in the back here? Remember how dark this was in the old photos? And this back corner was really dark, and that's just that the sun tunnel that's over here. It brings natural light in the middle of the house. Just looking at this, how bright this is, there's no lights on this. There's no light in here at all. It's just from natural light during the day. So that gives you an idea what something as simple as like adding a little sun tunnel can do for you. So we took the doorway that was here, used to be a lot further down. So which is nice, when you come in from the front door, you can look all the way through. It's nice to have the longer vistas going through here and see some natural light through here.
I just like the ease that I had of moving around, getting into things. So as we get older, it's harder to bend over. It's hard to get into a refrigerator the way we had it before. And now, making a refrigerator, the stove, the sinks. I love the drawers. They just roll out, and then I don't have to bend over, try and climb into a cabinet to find any kind of appliance, food, garbage bags. Everything is just so much easier. I just love the farm sink. It just makes more sense, this whole layout. It's open to the living room, and I love sitting in the living room watching Tim cook.
Yes, I love the way they coordinate. I mean, the color of the countertops and the cabinets. Well, it's just a great design. Yeah. Great elements.
They met every challenge. It's in the middle of the house. There's no lights that we put in the skylight, which lets so much more light in this area. My husband doesn't like being in the dark. I kind of like being subdued lighting, but well, look, now we have the option.
Now it's going to show you some of the final photos so you can see where that goes. So you can see here when we come inside of the front door, this is the studio where they do all the, painting, and it's just a really nice, happy room with tall ceilings, and it's a great place to paint in. And here's from when you're in the kitchen, you're cooking, you can talk to whoever's here. If they're watching something, they can both be watching the same thing, and you feel like you're together. Same thing stating at the sink here, where we can talk to whoever's at the table. And then also here, this is what we ended up doing with the floor, because we had a different type of wood laminate floor here, and we had another floor here, so we weren't going to match either of them perfect. And then so we were able to cut back some more of the flooring up to where the cabinets were, and we did some sort of a tile flooring in that area. And this we added to get some more for spacious and just some more storage. Whenever time you open up a wall, you tend to lose a lot of upper cabinet space. And this was just a little 12-inch. It didn't really take away from any view or anything like that. And there's lots of storage that's in here. A great project comes about by making the right decisions. And by making the right decisions, you really need to have the right information. So do your research up front, find somebody you can work with, get a realistic idea what things are going to cost. Like here, we told them what everything was going to cost before we ever signed anything, before we did anything, and even before we started design as to what the starting cost would be for a project. That way, you can make the right decisions. So if this is something that you would like to have done to your home and you live in Hunterdon County or Central Jersey, then please give us a call. And if not, hopefully this might have helped you with what you plan to do with your home. And so we're hoping to make more of these videos, as we have done lots and lots of these over the last 30 years. So until next time, have a splendid day.